We'll hear from area health officials on the state of COVID-19 cases in southwest Missouri.
The death toll rises in Surfside, Florida. I'm Phil Keating on the ground of the Champlain Tower South, which collapsed Thursday morning, with the latest details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. We're getting more rain as parts of the 4 states already deal with flooding. We turn now to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy. Doug.
Yeah, we've had plenty of rain over the past couple days. A lot of areas have picked up several inches of rain over the past 48 hours. And with the clouds and showers, it's kept our temperatures down a bit. 84 and 70 were the numbers for us today. Pretty good batch rolled through this afternoon into the evening hours. It has been lifting off toward the north and to the west, but at the same time, we're getting some additional thunderstorms which are regenerating back across southwestern Missouri. Fairly light showers on the Kansas side, bigger storms south of Interstate 44 also lifting toward the north, so we got to watch those as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Of course, we're going to break down the work week for you here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Once those storms pass and the sun emerges again, many 4-staters will return to the water, but even after the rain is gone, it could affect local waterways. After periods of heavy rain, river currents are often much stronger, which makes activities like floating less safe. The best safety tip is this: stay off the water until things just calm down.
My best advice to people is don't get in the water when it's up like this. Every year people think they are smarter or braver than the elements, and every year we end up either rescuing or recovering people.
If you do choose to go floating or rafting, please wear a life jacket. Authorities confirm a 23-year police veteran who served with the Pea Ridge, Arkansas Police Department for 3 years died while on duty. Saturday, Rogers PD alerted the Pea Ridge Police Department about a car they had been following. Pea Ridge officers spotted the car at the White Oak gas station. When approached, police say the suspects rammed their car into a Pea Ridge police car. In doing so, police say the suspects ran over Officer Kevin Apple, then drove away. Suspects were later arrested. One suspect in particular, 18-year-old Elijah Adanzola, is being charged with capital murder. Southwest Missouri is seeing a spike in COVID-19 cases, and some experts fear it could get even worse. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more.
But our numbers have certainly taken an uptick.
Southwest Missouri is seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases. And with the Delta variant taking hold of the region, local health officials are worried the situation could get worse.
We've kind of got a perfect storm coming. We have relatively low vaccination rates, more people getting together, and a new variant out there that's contributing to the increases in cases.
At Mercy Hospital in Joplin, these numbers are starting to look familiar.
So our numbers currently are resembling what we saw in our first surge last fall. So that is concerning.
But now, those being hospitalized for the virus are mostly unvaccinated, which is why Stokes says precautions like masking and social distancing may still be necessary.
Our vaccination rate is still pretty low in our region. Yes, there is quite a concern with the Delta variant, again, because it is highly contagious.
Mercy is doing vaccine outreach to combat this by opening their vaccine clinics for walk-ins and by making special arrangements for those unable to make those clinic times.
We're doing everything we can to get as many people vaccinated as possible. We continue to highly encourage vaccination for those individuals that haven't been vaccinated yet.
Also doing more vaccine outreach is the Community Clinic of Southwest Missouri. They say with the increase in local cases and the emergence of the Delta variant, they're seeing more people interested in the vaccine than they have in weeks.
Whenever the increase of new strains was coming out and new cases were coming about, we started a pretty significant increase in requests for vaccines. So I'd say we've doubled the number of vaccines that we've been giving just in the last couple of weeks.
Experts say with this surge, it's more important now more than ever to get vaccinated. In Joplin and Carthage, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Health officials say vaccines are readily available and the most effective way to fight that virus. CDC says Oklahoma is the last in the nation when it comes to testing for COVID variants. The report has some health officials concerned as the state's daily COVID-19 cases have jumped more than 100% since the beginning of June. Officials say part of the reason is that they test for variants only when there is a large outbreak of cases.
So it's been slow, our sequencing and testing for the variant, because our testing numbers are down right now overall, just people getting tested for COVID. So it takes several samples before we can actually run that sequencing to get those results.
Health officials say the best way to protect yourself from variants is to, you guessed it, get vaccinated. The COVID Delta variant, first discovered in India, has now been found around the globe, including in 49 states and Washington, D.C. The strain's rapid rate of transmission prompting an even stronger push by officials around the world for more vaccinations to help slow the spread. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has this story.
Global concern mounting as the highly contagious COVID Delta variant rapidly spreads across the world. Here in the U.S., the strain accounts for at least 20% of new infections, and health experts warn we could see more outbreaks as the Delta variant continues to transmit among unvaccinated people.
It's going to be hyper-regionalized, where there's certain pockets of the country where you can have very dense outbreaks.
The most vulnerable, communities with low vaccination rates, including some southern states where the number of people getting inoculated is below the national average. While roughly 46%, or 152 million Americans, are now fully vaccinated, according to the CDC, officials say that's not enough.
The answer to the Delta variant is more and more and more vaccination.
Meanwhile, in the UK, 99% of new COVID patients were infected with the Delta variant. This, as the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control warns of a grim prediction for the continent.
90% of infections will be of this variant by the end of August.
And a just-released study out of Oxford University suggests mixing and matching doses of two different COVID-19 vaccines could provide enough protection against the virus and its variants. This could help bolster the vaccine rollout. Spain and Germany already allowing vaccine mixing for young people who received AstraZeneca as their first dose. And because of the dangerous Delta variant, the World Health Organization is urging even vaccinated people to continue wearing masks. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Crews are working around the clock to locate survivors from last week's deadly condo collapse. More than 150 people still unaccounted for. State and local officials say this remains a search and rescue situation, not yet a recovery operation. Fox News correspondent Phil Keating has more.
The search and rescue operation continuing for a fifth day here in Surfside, Florida. The death toll rising on Monday to nearly a dozen people. Families of the missing are holding out hope more survivors will be found. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett says he encountered a little girl praying near the site where one of her parents is missing.
She didn't know what to do, what to say, who to talk to.
Rescue teams are using heavy machinery to remove large slabs of concrete. Underground sonar and canine crews are also being used. Search and rescue crews are working 12-hour shifts in hopes of finding any pockets in the wreckage and any survivors.
We're going to continue and work ceaselessly to exhaust every possible option in our search.
Over the weekend, the city of Surfside released a 2018 engineering report warning of major structural damage to the building. An engineer who conducted the inspection identified cracks in support columns as well as a waterproof failure that could potentially damage concrete above an underground parking garage. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis saying this about an investigation.
We've pledged at the state, if they need support from engineers, from experts, whatever we need, whether it's Surfside, Miami-Dade, we're here to help.
Surfside officials say engineers will begin on Tuesday inspecting the sister building of the one that collapsed, which is just a couple of blocks away. In Surfside, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Rex Bush served in the U.S. Army from 1944 to 45. Native of Pittsburgh, Bush was stationed in Germany, earning several awards. And we are proud to thank and salute Sergeant First Class Rex Bush. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, Missouri Southern Zach Parrish is now a consensus All-American. Going to have details in sports.
Well, of course, more showers, thunderstorms for us today, like we need any more rain after all the rain that we have seen over the past couple days. Very heavy amounts, but we continue with these rain chances as we go through the next, 2, 3, 4 days. We're going to get scattered showers and even some thunderstorms. At least over the past couple hours, we've had a little bit of a break, and then more thunderstorms have been lifting north. This is actually over the past 24 hours, so you can see how much rain has worked in. But if we look over the past 48 hours, look at our rainfall totals. Along the I-49 corridor, just about everybody, 3 to 4 inches, and then you hit pockets of 6, 7, 8 inches. Ottawa County and Oklahoma, and then into western parts of Newton County. A little bit less on the Kansas side, but still a lot of areas have picked up 2, 3, 4 inches of rain over the past couple days, and that's why we have flash flood warnings and watches, which are going to remain in effect at least over the next couple days. Pretty good band rolled through earlier today. Now it has kind of fallen apart. You can see just light showers, but picking back up northeastern Oklahoma, also into southwestern parts of Missouri. So light showers on the Kansas side, Chanute, Parsons, Independence. And then thunderstorms again once you get into northeastern Oklahoma, Bartlesville, Nowata over into Craig County, Veneta, and then these extend into eastern parts of Ottawa County just to the east of Miami. And then another pretty good batch really from Seneca, Neosho down through McDonald County, and a lot of lightning in this storm in southeastern parts of Newton County. None of these are severe, but some of them are definitely on the strong side. And we're going to continue to get a few more batches as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Scattered thunderstorms. Let's go after midnight. Still our northern counties, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, getting scattered thunderstorms. And then I think by morning, most of any storms out there are going to be in our north and western counties. Everybody else will get a chance to dry out in just a little bit, which is good news. All right, temps right now sitting into lower 70s. Currently outside, sitting at 72. Humidity, of course, is high. About 93% just due to the on and off showers and thunderstorms and of course the clouds across the region. Hit and miss storms tomorrow afternoon. These are not going to be near as numerous as what we have seen today. They're going to be out there. I'd say 40% of the area will get some showers and thunderstorms, but still not quite as numerous as what we have been seeing during the afternoon and evening hours today. 68 start, 80 by noon, high temp of 85. Scattered thunderstorms continue. Tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, we'll still have these hit and miss storms. As we work into Wednesday, I think they're going to be a little bit more numerous as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Very similar to what we have seen today with showers and thunderstorms. Again, not really expecting any severe weather over the next couple days, which is good news, but we could definitely have some strong storms. 85 tomorrow, 85 on Wednesday. Rain chances, they start to decrease Thursday and Friday as they're going to become a little bit more spottier. And then by the weekend, the holiday weekend looks fantastic for the 4th on Sunday.
Tell you what, those temperatures still look good though. I mean,
yeah, if we could get rid of the humidity, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, true. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. An extreme heat wave continues over in the Pacific Northwest in an area accustomed to cooler temperatures. Folks there are trying to beat the heat, of course, now. Fox News correspondent Dan Springer has more from Seattle.
Millions of Americans are under heat warnings or advisories in the Pacific Northwest, where many cities are experiencing triple-digit temperatures for the 3rd straight day. Records shattered over the weekend across the region, with some areas seeing temperatures 40 degrees above normal. Seattle reaching a temperature above 100 degrees for only the 4th time in reported history.
Unfortunately, we're starting to see this year after year. It's getting hotter and hotter.
Folks in the region so unaccustomed to the extreme heat that many don't even have air conditioning. In Seattle, only 44% of households have it, and the city is the least air-conditioned metro area in the United States. People struggling to find fans and air conditioners now in short supply.
My house is already hot, and so with the added heat over the next few days, I've got kids. I got to make sure they don't get too hot as well.
Cooling centers opening across the region, and the Washington governor relaxing COVID-19 restrictions in places like shelters and other air-conditioned venues to help the homeless population.
I came down here because I'm 71 and I have AFib, so that my heart makes it difficult to breathe as effectively as normal.
Meanwhile, many are flocking to beaches and local pools for some relief.
About to have a lot of fun today. We're not going to let the heat beat us. We're going to beat the heat.
A drop in temperature is expected over the next couple of days, but only down to about 90. In Seattle, Dan Springer, Fox News.
Coming up, airstrikes in the Middle East.
President Biden ordered airstrikes against 3 Iranian-backed militia facilities in the Middle East. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with what we know about the airstrikes and congressional reaction coming up.
Over the weekend, President Biden gave the go-ahead for airstrikes in the Middle East aimed at Iranian-backed militia groups. Pentagon says groups have been using drones to target U.S. troops, so the U.S. military took action using its firepower to wipe out the militia's weapons facilities. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more on the fallout from Washington.
In the middle of the night, U.S. airstrikes taking out their targets, 3 facilities near the borders of Syria and Iraq.
This action in self-defense to do what's necessary to prevent further attacks, I think sends a very important and strong message, and I hope very much that it is received.
The Pentagon says Iranian-backed militias used those facilities to launch drone attacks against U.S. troops and assets. On Monday, the Pentagon released aerial footage of the strikes, this time a more extensive operation than the first airstrikes ordered by President Biden in February. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she looks forward to more information on the strikes as required under the War Powers Act, and she agrees with the president's decision. Quote, protecting the military heroes who defend our freedoms is a sacred priority. The Pentagon said they do not anticipate a lot of casualties. Early reports say some militia members were killed.
These Shia militias, look, they're constantly poking the bear. And they use drones to do so. They use increasingly advanced drones. They want to create conflict. They're trying to create conflict in the Kurdish region. And they're trying to create conflict with us in the hopes that we would leave, because in the end, they just want to take over Iraq.
This is a bit of a balancing act for the Biden administration because the strikes come as the U.S. is considering rejoining the Iran nuclear deal, which would also mean a potential lifting of sanctions against Iran. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Next, that bipartisan infrastructure deal may be in jeopardy.
The good vibes surrounding last week's infrastructure deal did not last long. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
Questions mounted today as to the fate of the bipartisan infrastructure deal announced last week. Over the weekend, President Biden walked back his threat to veto the deal, but now it seems he has to win enough support from his own party to get enough votes for the framework to become a bill that's going to pass. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively is in D.C. with the latest.
A no climate, no deal rally outside the White House Monday demanded an infrastructure package that combats climate change and invests in jobs. One of many demands on a fragile deal struck between a bipartisan group of senators and the president. Their proposal would spend more than $1.2 trillion over 8 years on traditional infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, and rail.
This is the famous Portal Bridge.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg toured this aging train track in New Jersey on Monday, a likely candidate for inclusion in the plan.
And that bridge frequently gets stuck, as many of our riders here know, and it also fails to come back into alignment.
The $1 trillion deal may be stuck too, after the president threw a monkey wrench into negotiations.
There's going to have to be the second part of it. I'm not just signing the bipartisan bill and forgetting about the rest.
The rest of it is a much larger deal focused on human infrastructure, backed by progressives in the White House, that covers things like child care and education funding. Republicans called that a veto threat, and the president backed off over the weekend, saying in a statement, "The bottom line is this. I gave my word to support the infrastructure plan, and that's what I intend to do." GOP leaders say that's just the first step to getting their votes.
The president's promise to deal with it separately is nice, but isn't determinative unless the majority leader and the speaker agree.
The president is scheduled to travel to Wisconsin on Tuesday to highlight how the framework can help out agriculture and rural economies. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Next, going to meet the SEAL that's found a much easier way, much more enjoyable way to go from point A to point B in that vast ocean. A lazy but smart. I mean, come on, I think this guy is smart. A lazy but smart seal hitches a ride aboard a yacht in Sweden. Andre Bates was sailing his boat in a race, barely making his way. He wasn't winning. When a seal, that guy right there, climbed on board his 28-foot boat, that seal was probably thinking, all right, dude, you're not winning the race. You got time for me to hitch a ride. Seal was happy to bask in the sun, as we're seeing right there on board, and take in a free ride even into the next day. Yeah, he stayed on that thing until the next day. And I bet you anything, he was expecting mimosas too. You can bet on that just looking at that seal after the video. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Despite the pandemic, business and construction is booming in Joplin. I'm Chris Warner with some of the projects underway and what the future has to hold.
Also going to hear how a donation from Panda Express is helping the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri. There's a lot of construction taking place in Joplin, from homes to businesses and things in between. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
With each passing month, it seems more projects are popping up across Joplin. There's areas with obvious work in progress and others where most of what's happening is hidden behind historic walls. Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce President Toby Teeter says there's efforts in place for more projects.
There is ongoing efforts to attract additional retail opportunities that will add to the livability of Joplin. We're working on some things, including grocery stores, movie theaters, to really make this community a little more dynamic and have more things to do.
On the commercial side, the 32nd Street Place, which will be anchored by Menards, is underway. There's additional retail work taking place, like the site work on the future Brahms at 26th and Main.
More and more other areas of the city are really starting to take off, and a lot of adaptive reuse of existing buildings. I think the next chapter is a lot of the historic properties in downtown Joplin are going to take new lives.
That next chapter is something that Lori Hahn and the Downtown Joplin Alliance are keeping a close eye on.
I mean, we definitely have reached a level of momentum with downtown projects, and it's becoming visible enough that even people who aren't intimately involved in it can see it happening.
With a new hotel coming soon and 2 buildings being revamped for apartments, Hahn's looking forward to what this could mean for downtown Joplin.
Rehabbing an old building is great, and it's exciting to see that happen, but brand new construction where there's been nothing before is really noticeable just for the average passersby that way. So I think both of those in hand are kind of part of what's making it so successful.
But there's something in the way of more robust growth.
Our biggest prohibitors of growth right now is talent attraction and retention in affordable housing, and we're really focused on those now.
Teeter says they're continuing to look at ways to solve those problems to continue growth in the city. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Lori Hahn tells us between 2017 and 2020, there was $55 million in downtown project investments. She's estimating more than $100 million in downtown project investments over the next 4 years. Boys and Girls Club Southwest Missouri plans to use a $25,000 donation to bring an academic support program to its club. The Panda Cares Foundation, as part of the Panda Express Restaurant Group, donated the money. Americans are hitting the road this 4th of July. AAA says more than 47 million people across this great country will head out on Independence Day trips between July 1st through July 5th, with travel estimated to reach pre-pandemic levels. 91% of holiday travel is going to be by car, with an estimated 43.6 million Americans expected to drive to their donations. And more cars on the road, of course, means more Americans can expect some traffic delays as well. And for those renting, listen up. Yeah, it's going to be expensive. Increased rental car rates are at about $166 per day, also according to AAA. A much anticipated government report on UFOs lists 144 known sightings, 144 known sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena. The study released on Friday found only one can be explained. The report is of a rare example of the government acknowledging that it has investigated UFO cases. As David Martin reports, the lack of explanation, though, is fueling more questions about what else may be out there.
My gosh! There is no longer any doubt unidentified flying objects are real. This one was seen by now retired Navy pilot Alex Dietrich in her F-18 off the coast of California.
There were 2 aircraft in our visual encounter. Each aircraft had 2 air crews. And then immediately following that, a single aircraft with 2 air crew who were able to lock onto this thing and get the FLIR footage.
It's been 17 years, and a new report by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence still can't explain that and more than 140 other sightings of so-called unidentified aerial phenomena, some of which appear to demonstrate advanced technology.
The way that it was maneuvering, the way it was accelerating and also hovering, it seemed to have capabilities that our systems would not have been able to display or keep up with. So certainly in that moment, there was some shock and awe.
The report says there is no evidence these objects came from outer space and no evidence they represent a technological breakthrough by a rival like China or Russia. Where they came from and where they go remain a mystery. But the Director of National Intelligence says they may pose a challenge to U.S. national security.
Anything that is unknown, that's as close to the coast as it was, I think that's a concern.
This object went into the water, also off the coast of California, in 2019. The Navy could find no wreckage, leaving it next to impossible to determine who it belonged to.
A bit later, going to meet some of this year's U.S. Olympic team after securing spots, precious spots, at qualifying competitions.
Well, of course, another warm, humid day for us today. We've had on and off showers and thunderstorms pretty much all day long, especially during the afternoon into the evening hours. These have been scattered, but majority of us have seen at least some rain across the region, and we've had way too much the past few days, and that's why we've had the flash flooding across the region. A lot of areas have picked up many, many inches of rain just since Saturday. This is over the past 24 hours. We had a big batch yesterday, had a break, had another batch last night that rolled through, and then more which has been developing over the past couple hours. But you can see southwestern parts of Missouri, Nevada along the I-49 corridor into southwestern Missouri. All this kind of magenta color is 7, 8, 9, 10, even upwards to 12 inches in spots, and that is a ton of rain. Southeastern Kansas a little bit less, but still you can see a lot of areas are pushing 5, 6, 7 inches, and then a little bit more northeastern Oklahoma. So just too much rain over the past 48 hours. That's why we have the flash flood warnings and watches, which are in effect across the region. So we kind of need a break. We're not going to get much of one, at least the next couple days. More rain has been working in over the past couple hours. We had that first initial band a few hours ago. It kind of fell apart. Now we have another band, which is lifting in. Let's zoom in. Here's northern parts of McDonald County, and then here's eastern parts of Newton County. You can see a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning. This is lifting north in Neosho and then into the south side of Joplin, Diamond, Carthage, and then extends a little bit over into Ottawa County, and then also creeping up into Cherokee County on the Kansas side. A little farther west, another good batch from Parsons, Oswego, all the way down into Oklahoma, Nowata, Coffeyville, Independence, also producing some pretty heavy amounts of rain. And again, I think this is going to work through tonight. We'll get a little bit of a break late tonight into tomorrow morning, but still plenty of chances over the next couple days. Here's 3:30 in the morning, still some hit and miss storms, but everything in general calms down, everything shifts a little bit farther toward the north. Most of the rain by morning will be in our western counties, but it will start to pick up again as we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. 72 is where we stand in Joplin, 72 in Parsons, 73 in Bella Vista, 72 in Stockton. Looks wet, 7th and Range line, looking off toward the south, just like we have seen over the past few days. All right, through the overnight hours, at least rain will start to decrease a bit. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, we're going to get these scattered thunderstorms again. It's not going to be quite as numerous as what we have seen today, but they are going to be out there. I would say about 40 to 50% of us will get rain tomorrow. 80 by noon, high temp, right around 85 degrees. Wednesday, good rain chances as well. And then our rain chances will start to kind of fall off a little bit by Thursday or Friday. So it won't be as widespread as what we are seeing now. The lower the rain chance, the less widespread the rain is. The weekend though, holiday weekend, shaping up pretty good.
Yeah, and some of that rain that we've had so far has come down at a pretty good clip too.
Yeah, it really has. It's been very heavy rain.
Yeah. All right, Doug, thanks as always, man. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern lefty Zach Parrish is now a consensus All-American. Also, Southeast Kansas martial artist passes jiu-jitsu on to the next generation. Sports director Jacob Leonard has that story next.
Missouri Southern's Zach Parrish is now consensus All-American and the consensus Division II Pitcher of the Year. Today, the ABCA named Parrish the National Pitcher of the Year, joining the D2 Commissioners Association and the Baseball Writers in giving him the award. Now, this season for Southern, Parrish was 11-1 overall with a 1.21 ERA. He became the Division II all-time leader in strikeouts, getting 136 on the year to finish his college career with 488. Well, both the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals are on the field tonight. The Royals are in Boston for a 4-game series against the Red Sox in their final stop of a 10-game road trip. Now, that one is final. 7 home runs tonight in Boston between the two teams. Royals, though, fall 6-5. Carlos Santana goes 1 for 4 with a 3-run jack in the first. Game 2 of this series will be tomorrow evening at 6:10. The St. Louis Cardinals at home tonight to begin a series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Cards have lost 6 of 7 coming into the night. Tonight it's all tied up at 1 in the top of the 7th. Dylan Carlson is 1 for 3 with a triple and an RBI. Well, Andrew Brown is an instructor at Arise Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Pittsburgh. He's a busy guy between coaching, competing, and a part-time job, but he still finds time to pass his passion for jiu-jitsu along to the next generation.
I wish I would have started when I was 2. Come on, Morgan, get that boy. Get him. It not only gives them a self-defense aspect, structure. Every day they're building confidence, but they're also being humbled. So it keeps them kind of right in the middle, and it just helps them out in the long run, I feel like.
As a parent, you know that you're not going to be able to keep them safe their entire life. And I think as parents, we need to give them tools to do that for themselves. And jiu-jitsu has been great for that.
Brown has about 35 total students, including 10 to 15 kids at Arise Academy. You can check out our full story, his class schedule, and more information on this story on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
USA athletes are gearing up for gold with less than a month to go before those Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Reporter Tina Cross is in London with a look ahead to those games.
Sydney's time is now! Sydney McLaughlin flew past the competition at the Olympic trials in Oregon on Sunday. That's a new world record! Running the fastest ever 400-meter hurdles. The 21-year-old from New Jersey is primed for gold ahead of the 2020 Games next month in Tokyo. So is Virginia native Grant Holloway, who nearly broke a world record in the 110-meter hurdles, missing it by 100th of a second. Team USA showcased a star-powered Olympic lineup at qualifying competitions over the weekend. 4-time Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles secured her spot in Tokyo despite a fall from the beam. 18-year-old Suni Lee from Minnesota also locked up a place.
No need to doubt.
But tennis superstar Serena Williams says she's not on the Olympic list, and she won't say why.
In the past has been a wonderful place for me, but I really haven't thought about it, and so I'm going to keep not thinking about it.
The 23 times Grand Slam singles champion said earlier this year Tokyo may not be in the cards as COVID restrictions wouldn't allow her to bring her 3-year-old daughter Olympia. Despite growing concerns about COVID, the Olympic torch is getting closer to Tokyo, with just a few weeks to go before the Games begin.
Coming up, going to catch up with the cast of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory as that film turns 50 years old. A family classic that made its debut back in 1971 and starred the late actor Gene Wilder celebrates its golden anniversary. Fox's Ash Dvorkin has this story.
The cast of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory celebrates the 50th anniversary of the classic film.
It was my one and only film, and I like to say if you could only be in one film, this was the film to be in.
What a surprise that we're even talking about this 50 years later.
A lot of movies were made in 1971, and this, for whatever reason, has such, enduring popularity.
The Candyman can.
The 1971 musical Fantasy is the first film adaptation of Roald Dahl's classic novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which starred late actor Gene Wilder as the iconic candy maker.
Gene was so gentle and so nice to me, and it was really great to learn to know a man personally, which you see otherwise only on the TV.
The former child actors have all left the film business, but get pulled back into the world of imagination when invited to conventions to share their experience with old and new fans.
We meet fans when we can, and we like doing it. And I love the fact that when people come up and they tell you what it's meant to them.
People come up to my table with all different kinds of stories. I was ill, and it's the thing that got me through, or my bout of depression, or I love to watch it with my father, who's no longer here.
To have the opportunity to make as many people smile or cry, that's a gift.
Come with me.
To mark its golden anniversary, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment is releasing the film on a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack and digital on June 29th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with a video of a panda cub enjoying some bamboo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.